Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You're amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. This is video 2 of 2 today. It's Saturday. You're looking absolutely amazing. And I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes. Straight into the meat and potatoes. Because it's Saturday, and I know you've probably got other things to do. But look, we've got to talk about a couple of things. Earlier on, video 1, we spoke about the arrested potential DoorDash driver. Absolute wreckhead. Not sure. I'm pretty sure it was female. Possibly. But in this video, we're going to be looking at an article that has been spurned on from the announcement of this 4-part docuseries as they talk about Dylan and Bethany and why they called people over. Apparently, they couldn't reach the people in the house, and that was enough. So we get into it. Let's look at this. Witnesses as well. Bloody witnesses. Idaho students who discovered bloodbath break silence ahead of critical Bryan Kohberger hearing. The Idaho students who discovered the bloodbath inside the off-campus home in Moscow have broken their silence 2 months before their friend's accused killer, Bryan Kohberger, goes on trial. Emily Allen and Hunter Johnson had been called over to the house on the morning of November 13th, 2022 by the 2 surviving roommates who were unable to reach their friends and were scared something bad had happened. I don't really know what to make of that. We're going to obviously carry on because I'm sure it can't get any worse than that. Right, so let's get this right. You're in the house. You've heard something. You've seen something. You've reacted to something. You have left your room, gone into the other room. It's Dylan Mortensen. She goes from room 1 to room B. As she's going from room 1 to room B, the door that was originally apparently shut is now open, and she sees her friend on the floor. Sees a friend on the floor and doesn't do anything. She's scared. She's seen somebody, sees a friend laying on the floor, but she does nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. And carries on to the next room. She's then trying to call people in the house, doesn't get any answer, still does nothing in terms of calling 911. No 911 call, no 911 call whatsoever. And then we see this array of texts, and we've seen through the court documentation, there is a multitude of things being done that includes and is not limited to communications internal to the house, external to the house, job searches, things like that. And there is also video and photograph activity on the phones as well. Pretty much for a prolonged duration of time. It then goes dark for approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then it all comes back into life. And then these individuals are called to the house because they can't reach people in the house and they're scared, so they get people to come over for them. And still no call to 911. Right. Let's carry on, shall we? We just want to get that, wrapped up. Once inside, they found Xana Canodal's body. A chilling 911 call was placed. That obviously cannot seemingly be the right way round, because we've heard the 911 call, we've heard it, and the 911 call would not suggest that this story, this version of events, that they've called someone over. And we'll carry on through, and then we'll decipher it in a bit. So a chilling 911 call was placed, with officers arriving on the scene to find all 4 victims dead. Alan and Johnson are now speaking out for the very first time about the day that their friends were brutally murdered in Prime Video's upcoming 4-part docuseries, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders. In the newly released trailer, the students speak about the moment they made the heartbreaking discovery and the chilling realization that their group of friends could have been stalked for months, which is unusual, isn't it? Because I literally spoke about stalking, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? And I brought up the fact that this stalking situation, because I said to Steve Gonsalves, if with respect of what has happened, and if they were being stalked, do you know what I mean? And the DNA being found at the scene that's not seemingly being dealt with, we now learn that the witnesses. One doesn't know what day of the week it is, and the other one, well, you'll see that in video one. Fucking mess. Yeah. We were a big group of friends. Why would you target those four? Alan is heard saying. There was a big realization that we had been stalked for so many months and had no clue. So how do you know that you were stalked for so many months and had no clue? Even that statement doesn't make sense. You could have been stalked for a few days and had no clue. Why does it say we'd been stalked for so many months and had no clue? Have they been told that they were being stalked for many months? In the early hours of November 13th, 2022, counting on Salvers, Madison Mogan, Canodal, and Ethan Chapin. I like the fact that they go Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Canodal, that's Xana. Did you forget her fucking name? Was stabbed to death inside 1122 King Road in the college town. And then it goes here, look. Go here, there's Hunter Johnson. 3 young women lived in the home with 2 roommates, Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen, while Chapin was Canodal's boyfriend. Around 4 a.m. that morning, Mortensen came face to face with the masked killer inside her home. She told investigators she heard disturbing noises inside the home, and after opening her bedroom door, saw a man dressed all in black and a balaclava type mask walking past her doorway towards the backsliding door. And again, we have to cut back to thinking, but also it seems the front door was open. And heard disturbing noises. Well, she said she thought it was her friends playing with a dog and someone saying, I'm here to help you or whatever. I don't know. After the terrifying encounter, Mortensen desperately tried to call and text her roommates and friends, which we know that there was texts and calls going within the property. Only Funk responded. The 2 survivors repeatedly text and called each other and their 4 friends. No one had answered, and Mortensen texted Funk according to court records. What is going on? She then sent to Gonsalves. In another message, Mortensen texted Funk, I'm freaking out right now, and described the intruder wearing a ski-like mask almost. Mortensen ended up running from her room on the 2nd floor down to Funk's room on the 1st floor, where they stayed until daylight. Cell phone records released in court documents show that the 2 women called and texted their roommates and other people and accessed social media platforms over the next 8 hours. So every single fucking thing apart from calling 911. And here's where it gets spicy. So with still no response from any of the 4 victims, at around 11:50 a.m., Mortensen called Alan and asked her to come over and check the house because she was scared. Fuck you, mate. Yeah, I'm that scared. I'm going to not call 911. I'm going to see whether I can get someone else fucked up. Good with friends like that, mate. Who needs fucking enemies? Court documents state. And she was that scared that she was all over social media doing photographs or whatever, looking for a job, yada, yada, yada. Alan and her boyfriend Johnson came to the home and met Mortensen and Funk at the bottom floor of the 3-story house. Johnson and Funk Mortensen made their way to the 2nd floor, with Johnson going to the kitchen to grab a kitchen knife, the documents say. And we're going to question this in a minute because, again, it reeks of lies to me. At that moment, the students saw Canodal lying on the floor. The students recall that horrifying moment in their trailer. In the trailer, I stepped foot in the house and immediately Hunter was like, "Get out!" Someone called 911. A female voice says. The panic 911 call was then placed from Funk's cell phone, and again, it's like that's not how I remember the 911 call going. They ring 911 call. They ring 911 and say that a friend in the house is unconscious. They're not waking up, and then they're told that they've got to go and check, which they seemingly reluctantly do. Which I think they're reluctant because they already fucking know what's going on. The question has always been, what did they know before the 911 call was placed? Now this seems to suggest that they knew fucking everything. Yet the 911 call itself seems to suggest they didn't know everything, which again makes me wonder, was there multiple 911 calls? Was the 911 call that we heard in fact a much earlier 911 call? Because it don't make sense to me. That it doesn't, the 911 call story doesn't match the reporting of it. In the call, Alant is heard speaking to the dispatcher saying that they saw someone in their house last night. And it says here, look, the Prime Video series, which premieres on July 11th, marks the first time that Alant and Johnson have ever spoken out publicly about that horrific day. After going through the trauma of finding their friends dead, they reveal that they were subjected to online rumours and threats. People were thinking we were murderers. Hunter Johnson says in the trailer, we were getting death threats. Alant says another friend reveals that photos of his home were posted online as he was accused of having something to do with it. The series delves into the online rumours and speculation that filled the void, with the surviving roommates and some of the victims' friends facing shocking accusations, online attacks and death threats, which, you know what I mean, that's not good, but you're not going to fucking escape it, sadly. I get death threats and online attacks. There's no arrests were made, no suspects' names for weeks after the murder. Chapin's triplet siblings, Hunter and Maisie, who also attended the University of Idaho, also speak out for the first time, with Hunter speaking about the terrifying aftermath of the murders where his brother's killer was still at large. There's this person out there who had just murdered our brother and he's still out there somewhere, he recalls, and they put that fucking selfie again. And it says, Brian Coburg seen in a creepy selfie 6 hours. What the fuck is creepy about it? I don't understand what's creepy about it. The only thing that I can figure is creepy is the fact that he can't do his fucking collar properly. That's creepy. Get your collar sorted out, man. The show also features new interviews from other friends and family members of the victims, including Chapin's parents, Stacey and Jim Chapin, and Mogan's parents, Karen and Scott Laramie. On December 30th, 2022, an arrest was finally made in this case. Goes on to say 30-year-old criminology student over the border in Washington State University was taken into custody at his parents' home in Old Brightsville, Pennsylvania, where he had returned for the holidays. He was connected to the murders after his DNA was found on a K-bar leather knife sheath found next to Mogan's body at the scene. Again, do you like that? He was connected to the murders after his DNA was found on a K. And so no allegedly, no speaking about the complexities of that situation, the challenges to that kind of situation, the fact that all of the workings out are just not there. This goes straight for the throat yet again. Says he was connected to the murders after his DNA was found on a K-bar leather knife sheet found next to Mogan's body at the scene. Prosecutors also found cell phone records placing him outside the student home multiple times prior to the murders, as well as surveillance footage showing a vehicle matching his car speeding away. Again, that is absolute. And I must stress, just think, if people are reading this, if this is the people's only conduit to news, this is what they are reading. This is what they're reading. Just the bare bones of it. In the 11th hour move, Coburg's defense is asking the judge to delay the trial, citing a recent Dateline episode that revealed bombshell new details and pointed to a potential evidence leak in the case. In the show, released in early May, the suspected killer's phone records, porn choice, and online searches for Ted Bundy revealed for the first time. It also aired never-before-seen surveillance footage of the suspect vehicle fleeing the horrific crime scene on November 13th, 2022. So when you pair that with what they've put up here, again, this is just another damning article. The defense asked for the trial to be postponed, citing the Dateline episode and other media coverage about the case. In its response, the state also rubbish claims a delay would make it easier to seat an impartial jury and blast the defense for going down every rabbit hole. Defendant's motion amounts to a request for a perpetual continuance so that his counsel can go down every rabbit hole until the defendant, rather than the court, deems himself ready for trial. The filing from prosecutor Bill Thompson reads, I'm not even fucking interested. Bill fucking Thompson. This is how I see it. The mainstream media absolutely brutally manipulating the information they've received to make it look like flat out Brian Koberger is guilty. And look, the guy might be guilty. This has now not become about whether he's innocent or guilty anymore. This is about how this trial, this upcoming trial, how this entire case is being treated in the public domain by mainstream media. And how some of the evidence that we've seen is absolutely questionable, but people are ignoring it. You know, what we spoke about earlier, it looks like two of the witnesses, one of them who's deemed herself pretty much non-compos mentis, and the other one, The DoorDash driver. Ah, fucking hell. Again, these are people who, you tell me, more D-rugs on the peripheral than, I don't know, madness. Love you all. Mwah.